Hello everyone, and welcome again to the forest. Now if you've seen my previous video, you will know that all we really need is food, water, and shelter, the three basic necessities. Well, just this year, just at the beginning of this year, we decided that we wanted to be more self-reliant in those three things. In fact, I want to be completely self-reliant in all three. So we've been doing a lot of things that we haven't done before this year, including some of the things I'm about to show you. And in these next 3 videos, I'll show you what we're doing to become more self-reliant, and in the future maybe even completely self-reliant in the 3 necessities: food, water, and shelter. First we'll start with food. And first of all, quite plainly obvious, is that we have bees. Now this is our first hive and we just got it this year. We're still learning, and if anybody out there is starting with bees, I suggest you go check out a channel called Barnyard Bees. That's where we learned a lot of the things about doing bees. But yeah, we're just seeing how it goes with this first one hive. They're sort of like pet bees at the moment. We call each of them Beatrice. And they're doing well so far. Next we decided to think ahead and get some things that might take a few years to produce fruit and nuts. We decided to get a couple trees. Turn this into a proper food forest. Here we have a hazelnut. They're one of the best nuts to grow, through my research, if you ask me. Now this is the only one we have, but they need a pollinator. The other one died, so we'll have to get another one. Over there, if you can see those sticks, we have a black walnut tree growing, and that'll grow to be 110 feet tall. It'll take quite a while, but one day that'll be a big tree. There's more trees planted around here, but right now I'll skip to the next part, which is while you wait for your trees to grow, you need things to eat at the moment. And so that's where gardening comes in. And we've got outside garden planted, as you'll see shortly. And staple things just can't grow here normally, or at least very well. So we had to get the famous poly tent. It's just a small one. And inside this extremely hot, but nice for plants, warm poly tent, we have several experiments going. These are all tomatoes in this bed. And over here, I've got this bed all peppers, except for those wild rose bushes that just happen to be growing through the ground. You kind of need to get those out. And that herb right there is cilantro. All the main plants are peppers. This here is a very little known Manzano pepper plant. It grows well in colder environments. This, I don't know what it is. In fact, I don't know what any of these tomatoes or peppers are, because we got a seed mixture. So they're just random. But they're all heirloom though. And these in the back are beans, to provide the peppers with shade from the midday sun. They're not quite up yet. And over in this bed we have an assortment of things. This is a cucumber, that's a bean, that over there's another bean, that's a melon I think, And these ones in the front row, there's weeds. I'll need to weed this. These right here, those are cantaloupes that actually started sprouting in the compost, which we have over there. Oh, and here's some pea plants. They're not doing too well in here. I probably don't like the heat, but they do have some flowers. Just a couple of those. So yeah, not expecting extremely high yields this year. It's all just practice right now. Never done this before. Hardly. And anytime we have, it's always turned out bad. So we're actually trying this year. But you need to remember, you need to practice on these things. You won't become a master gardener in just 1 year. Another channel recommendation is, if you want to learn how to become a master gardener, I suggest watching a channel called the Gardening Channel with James Prigioni and another guy from Australia called Self-Sufficient Me. Okay, come along and I'll show you the rest. Over here in the main square, we have most of the main garden growing. Right here, we have it's a quite pitiful little garden bed. The soil's nothing special in this one. It's mostly, those are beets, that's a beet over there. The peas are growing terribly for some reason. And the weeds are sort of overtaking this one, but it's all just experiments. This is the berry patch. It's been around here for years, but this is the very first year that it's ever gotten water, and I'll explain that to you in the next video. This here is the squash and cucumber patch. It's quite big. This is the biggest growing thing yet. This big huge leaf is a sort of acorn squash, but I think it's more called a turban squash. These little ones back here are butternut. This is a summer squash. Those ones back there are cucumbers, and this little poor thing here is another Manzano pepper growing outside to see how it works. But look at those big flowers. Right there, there's the beginning of a squash. You might have noticed the umbrella right here. The sun is so strong here that it needs an umbrella to keep them happy. I don't know what's with our sun. Everything seems to hate it. This is more berries. More berries. More raspberries. The raspberries spread like madmen here. This right here, this is very interesting. This, some people may never have seen it growing. This is tobacco. I've never grown it before and I don't smoke, but I'll have to explain it in another video, because tobacco actually has a lot of things that can be done with it, including a natural insecticide. So yeah, you wouldn't think it would grow here in the north, but apparently it can. See, over here is the real main garden bed. This is a big one. Here's the radishes you've already seen. Back here is the lettuce, but it's not very good right now. It's all bitter, but I'll collect the seeds of it and plant more of it in the fall. That's more tobacco. Just have lots of tobacco seeds. I'm growing it everywhere to see where it grows best. This is all turnips, and right now they're not doing so well because of the sun, and we had to powder it with diatomaceous earth because bugs were getting on it. This is another thing you can eat the leaves of if you cook them, and then it has roots growing underneath there, but I'm really trying to grow things for seeds at the moment so I can get stocked up. Back here is kale. I'll start eating that anytime soon. In fact, those are getting pretty big. And way back here is Swiss chard. It's kind of being overpowered. I'll need to plant it in a different location. Another thing we've got is blackberries. These blackberries, once they grow, they'll be huge, and the blackberries will be that big. But we're planting them back in the forest, and maybe we'll plant a couple up here. This bed over here is in the worst state, mostly because the cats keep getting into it and digging in it. That's why I've got that ramshackled fence to try to keep them out. But the most prized thing in this bed is this, which I've protected its fragile stem. This is a Japanese yam, and they're said to be invasive, but there's also, after a couple years of sitting there, grow roots that are about 3 feet long, and I'd say that's a pretty good thing to have invading your area if it creates lots of free food. So this is a very rare plant, and it's just starting to grow, as you can see. These are mustard leaves, and they're pretty good here. Now this is more tobacco. I don't think it really likes this spot. And this is more tobacco. And that about wraps it up for all the food we've planted this year. There is more, and I'll show it to you. More trees and things like that. But I just wanted to show all of this to you, basically to say, I've never done this before, we've never done this before, and if I can do it, you can do it. A bonus tip, if you're looking to be really self-reliant, I'd suggest finding all heirloom seeds. That's what I did. Heirloom seeds, you're sure that they're open pollinated, which means the seeds that they produce will grow again, because hybrid seeds may not actually grow very well. Which, if you've never heard of that, most seeds that you can buy at the store are hybrid seeds. And if you were to plant the seeds that those plants make, they would probably grow stunted plants. So I get all heirloom seeds, and that's what I've tried to do, except for those mustard seeds. Those were 50 cents, I couldn't resist. And so when they produce seeds, I'll be able to grow more of those things, and so they'll never run out. But everyone, that's all for now, and as James Prigioni would say, I hope you got something out of it. And next time, we're going to be delving into the most necessary necessity, water. And until then, I think this is going to be my new catchphrase. Keep it simple.